Hey everyone, it's Pittico from Rock Daydream Nation, and today I've got a special guest, my friend Daniel Bicycle Legs from Bicycle Legs Talks Music. How are you, Daniel?
Yeah, doing well, doing well. Looking forward to completing the trilogy today.
Absolutely, the trilogy, and we're talking about Ripper 77. So there you go. We've had so much fun doing 75, 76. It just goes without saying we had to do 77.
Yeah.
So this is a diverse range of hits that were the flavour of 1977, 20 hits. A lot of artists that have been covered in the previous albums, some newbies. We are going to go through the album, do a little mini review of each, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Daniel, did you have a lot of fun listening to this one?
Yeah, it's an interesting listen. I don't know how it necessarily holds up compared with the first one in 76, but there's some good stuff on here. There's definitely some dodgy stuff as well. But that's what you get with a compilation album, isn't it? Um, Before we get into sort of talking about it track by track, I just wanted to go a little bit with the actual vinyl. That's the cover. Obviously looks like the other two as well. But you also get, with this one, you get a little insert of like the albums that the songs come from and that sort of thing. So that's kind of cool. And the other thing I wanted to mention is the actual vinyl is that really, really flimsy vinyl that you got in the sort of mid to late 70s during the oil crisis and that sort of thing. It's like super, super thin.
Like a wobble board. It's so
Yeah.
fancy. Yep. Okay, well, let's get into it. So we'll start off with the first track. This is Tomorrow, Bryan Ferry. This hit number 4 in the Aussie chart.
Been flashing through the interference beams, 1,000 tunes. This is tomorrow calling. What a fight to lose.
Bryan Ferry had a little bit of success in Australia. The previous year, the big hit was Let's Stick Together. What do you think of this song?
Yeah, this is interesting because I feel like this is an original song. This is one he wrote. Whereas on his first three solo albums, he was mostly doing covers. This was from his fourth album, and it was recorded during a hiatus of Roxy Music. So he actually did his own songs. But this one to me sounds like it's trying to be Let's Stick Together Part 2 a little bit, doesn't it? Like the arrangement and all that sort of thing. Um, I still like it. I think it's a good song. Um, I'm a big fan of Bryan Ferry and Roxy Music, although I do tend to prefer Roxy Music to Bryan Ferry solo. But it's got that big bombastic sort of. It's a great start for a compilation album, isn't it? It's big and it's bright and it's brash and it's a great way to sort of start off the album.
Absolutely. Now, this album would have been played in parties, Ripper 77. So you've got to have a barnstorming sort of let's shake your ass on the dance floor sort of song, and this is perfectly it. I get the Let's Stick Together Part 2. I always find he is a slinky crooner extraordinaire, and he doesn't disappoint in this song. I think it's stylish. It's got all the Bryan Ferryisms that you like, the sophistication. I'll say it again, all roads are leading to Avalon in 1980.
Yeah.
So, but I like this. I think it's a cracker of an opening track. Next one is Love So Right by the Bee Gees. So this hit the charts in number 23.
I was here and she was gone. Now I'm hanging on. Maybe you can tell me what love's so right. Turn out to be so wrong. Oh my darling,
What do you think of this song?
Yeah, this was not one that I was super familiar with. It's not certainly not one of their big hits. It's definitely in that era of Bee Gees, but it's not a disco song. It's a slower song. It's more ballady. It's more that sort of R&B soul kind of ballad. But you've got Barry Gibb singing in that falsetto that he did in the sort of mid to late 70s. And it's a good song. It's but this kind of sets a tone for me, Peter, for the rest of side one. A lot of side one is very much soft rock, balladry, that sort of thing. So after that barnstorming start with This Is Tomorrow, we do tend to get down into a more relaxed and ballady sort of groove for the rest of side one. So that kind of sets the tone for that. But yeah, as a song that I'm not super familiar with the Bee Gees, and I do love the Bee Gees, but it's a pretty good one. It's not one of their masterpieces, but it's a pretty good song.
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit contrarian on this one. I think all the components are there. You've got the falsetto, the harmonies, but it doesn't hang together as well as the other Bee Gees songs or their major hits. There's just something a little bit missing. It's one of those songs that after I finished hearing it, the hook wasn't in my head, and that's a bit strange for a Bee Gees song. So I wouldn't rate it as one of their strongest songs, and I wasn't uber familiar with this one. So I'd give it maybe just a pass mark on this one. It's not one of their best ones. It just doesn't quite hang together, and I can't put my finger on why. And you are right. On side one, there's a lot of what I would call cocktail music. So if you're at the party, this is where people are sort of mingling and having their cabanossi and the little, cheese on the stick and talking in the kitchen, not quite ready for the dance floor yet, Daniel, would they? Maybe that's side two. Maybe side two. Oh, I'd be shocked if you didn't like this song. 10cc, The Things We Do for Love.
Like walking in the rain and the snow when there's nowhere to go, when you're feeling like a part of you is dying and you're looking for the answer in her eyes. You think you're gonna break up, then she says she wants to make up.
I mean, 10cc got my vote as the best song off the last album. How do you rate this one?
It's a great song. I mean, I'm a huge 10cc fan, so it's no surprise that I like this song. It is definitely in the more commercial sound of 10cc, because they always had that kind of, dichotomy with 10cc between the commercial songs, the slick songs, the radio-friendly songs, and then you had the more weird experimental stuff. You got less of that now because Godley and Cream have left the band at this stage, and we're just down to Eric Stewart and Graham Gouldman, who were the more commercial songwriters of the four of them. It's a beautiful song. It's beautifully sung by Eric Stewart. It's got a lovely sort of flow to it. It's it's not a sappy lyric. It's a good love lyric, but it's not a sappy one. There's some clever wordplay and that sort of thing in it. So, yeah, I mean, as far as sort of radio-friendly 10cc, this is great.
Yeah, this has been played to death. Every classic rock radio station has played this, even right up to this day. I will put this in the wheelhouse of Supertramp, a whimsical, bouncy song. It's got pop hooks everywhere. It's memorable. I even hear a little bit of Beatles in this. I don't think that, you could put this in their universe. It's such a catchy song, and it's one of the strongest songs on this album. And not surprising, it hit the top 10, went to number 6. So there you go. Shining. So Marcia Hines has made her first appearance on a compilation in the trilogy of Ripper. What do you think of this song?
Yeah, this was not a Marcia Hines song I knew well, and I found out that the reason for that is this was apparently only released as a single in New Zealand. It wasn't actually even released as a single here. So, but it was the title track of her second album, if memory serves me correctly. And it's, it's Marcia Hines. She's got a gorgeous, gorgeous voice. For anybody who doesn't know her, she is an American singer, but she's done her whole career pretty much here in Australia. I think she moved here when she was about 15, 16 years old, something like that. She came out to play in on stage in the Hair musical. So, and then she forged a music career from there. And this is a beautiful ballad. It's, it's a little bit sappy, but her voice carries it through, I think, because she does have such a powerful voice. So yeah, not one I knew well, Peter, but there's a few later songs of hers that I knew a lot better. So
Yeah, I think a big hit in Australia was You, which is a little bit of a funky R&B disco song. I think that almost hit the top spot. I had a faint familiarity of this song. The Shining album actually did quite well. It sold 150,000 copies. So Marcia was the queen of pop. So in Australia, they used to have these annual awards, rock awards, where they would have the king of pop and the queen of pop. And the king of pop was always anointed. It was usually John Farnham. And the queen of pop, it was usually Marcia Hines. It's a gorgeous song, and I think it's her best vocal. I think it's got a very restrained vocal, and her voice really suits the material. It's very emotive, it's very soulful, and I just think it's just a wonderful vocal. I think Marcia Hines, you always think of her being that exuberant, singing stuff like I've Got the Music in Me, or like something really soul and R&B and pushing it out there. But this one shows a sensitivity that you may not be familiar with. So I think this is one of the star tracks on the album, and a really big surprise. And I actually purchased the album yesterday off the back of this. So I'm going to enjoy exploring that one. That's Shining, Marcia Hines. Jon English, third in a row. So he's been on every Ripper album, and this is Lay It All Down, and this went to number 28.
I'll help you to see the sun up there shining. Well, you can call on me, you know where I'll be. God knows you've been here before. Darling, you can't stop. Turn yourself around and lay it all down.
In 1977, what do you think of this song?
Of all the three Jon English songs on this album, on this series, I think this is probably the weakest of the three for me.
Same.
Again, he's getting a little ballady. It's definitely no Hollywood 7. That song's a classic. And even the Bob Seger song he did on the 75 album is a better song than this one, I think. But, still, he gets to show off his vocal chops, and he gets to belt towards the end and all that sort of thing. But as a song, it's a bit meh. It's really not the greatest song at all.
Yeah, Bicycle Legs, where's the grit? Where's the growl? Hollywood 7 and Turn the Page, that's what I liked about it, where he had that real growly, deep voice and, the gruff rock voice. But in this one, it's a little bit polished up. And to me, it feels like he's only in second gear. And, I agree. This is probably the weakest of the three Jon English tracks. But, glad I listened to it. And definitely he's an artist that I'm going to explore a lot more in the future. Next one, Roger Daltrey makes an appearance, Written on the Wind. So what do you think of this one?
Yeah, Roger Daltrey's interesting, isn't he, like, as a solo artist, because his solo albums sound nothing like The Who. The Who are a hard rock band and, dynamic and all that sort of thing. And then when Roger Daltrey did these solo albums, firstly, he would get outside writers to write all his songs for him. And then secondly, he went down a very soft rock kind of path. And, sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. The thing I like about this song is his vocal. It's interesting to hear him in a different context, not belting the way he did with The Who, but rather being more restrained and singing and, almost crooning in a way. But the song itself, again, is a little bit lightweight. It's fine. It's like, I don't hate it, but you know, you compare this with The Who, and there's no comparison at all. But as I say, it's interesting to hear Roger Daltrey in a different context. But beyond that, beyond being interesting, I don't think there's much more that it has going for it, really.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit middle of the road for me. It's got a nice melody, but once it's over, it's not memorable. It doesn't hook you in. To me, Roger Daltrey sort of solo is probably Without Your Love off the McVicker soundtrack. I like that era, that type of Roger Daltrey solo song. That's worth investigating. But this song, after you hear it, it doesn't leave much of an impression, unfortunately. Okay, the next one is Yvonne Elliman. Hello, Stranger. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, well, we're still in that very soft rock, ballady kind of mood with this, aren't we? I didn't know this song at all, and much like you're sort of saying with Roger Daltrey, with this one, it's pleasant while it's on, but I don't remember it when it's finished at all. She has a nice enough voice, but this is not a song I knew knew at all before listening to this album, and it's a song I really don't feel like I know well, even after sort of repeated listenings to this album for preparing for the show. So, yeah, it's a little bit sort of, one ear and out the other kind of thing.
You zoned out a little bit. It was like zoning out. Elliman's got fine pedigree. She was in the original Jesus Christ Superstar soundtrack with Ian Gillan. So she's a mighty fine singer, but I don't think this material does her any good. It's really beige, middle of the road. And again, I'm like you. I listened to it and I zoned out. So the Cocktail Party, they've got to get some ass shakers on this album to get people up, or people are going to fall asleep on the couch with all those martinis being drunk. So let's see what happens. Oh, we've got Taste.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Now you're going away. And now I've said all that there is to say. Since you're here.
Taste, Rebecca, the Aussie hard rock band. What do you think of this song?
This was desperately needed in the lineup because, as you say, you're almost starting to fall asleep a little bit. And then this comes on. It's got a real glammy feel to it, a real hard rocky feel to it. It's a get down and boogie kind of song. Taste were very much in that sort of glam rock kind of thing. They had all the, the suits and the clothes with the shiny and all that sort of thing. And not a very well-known band outside of Australia, and I would actually probably argue in this day and age probably not a very well-known band inside Australia either. They're not a band that gets played on the radio anymore or anything like that, and that's a bit of a shame because as far as that sort of glam rock kind of sound goes, they were pretty good at it, and this is a good song. I like it quite a lot, and it's a desperately needed injection of a bit of energy into this album.
I don't have any recollection of this band in the day. I know they recently reformed, or some of the members of the band did a reformation for a couple of gigs in Australia. I picked up their album Tickle Your Fancy, which is really solid hard rock. How would I describe them? I can hear a little bit of early Queen. I can hear a little bit of Sweet. I can hear a bit of Sabbath. I can hear a little bit of even Ritchie Blackmore, Deep Purple. So it's got all those elements, but this particular song is a pop song, more of a hard rock pop song, and it does well, and it really shakes up the variety of this album, which is starting to go down a slippery slope of a blandness. So I think it's a decent song, and they are definitely worth investigating if you like
absolutely.
If you like meat and potatoes rock and roll.
Yeah, I was going to say, of all those examples that you gave, this one definitely fits into the sweet kind of category, especially that sort of early sweet, It's got the hard rock kind of feel, but it's also got a little bit of the bubblegum. So
yeah, and some very tasty guitar work. So definitely worth investigating. Taste, and the song is Rebecca. Right, the next one, Atlanta Rhythm Section. So Into You. This hit the charts at number 12. This is another song that I don't even kind of recall. Do you remember?
No, same. I don't really remember this song at all. It's definitely not one that's, gets played on classic rock radio or anything like that these days. But I don't mind this song, actually. It's got, I really like the electric piano in it. I think it gives it a little bit of a 10cc vibe, although not as good, obviously. But it reminds me a little bit of, the sound of it, not the actual song structure or anything, but just the sound of that electric piano reminds me of I'm Not in Love, and the vocals are nice. It's a catchy song. Again, we're still in that sort of more mellow kind of feel that most of side one has. But I actually quite like this one, Peter.
Yeah, it doesn't scream pop single to me. When you hear it, it doesn't scream, here's a pop hook that's going to stick in your head. I think its charms are a lot more subtle. And to me, this is like a deep cut album track, a good one, but not really one that you would expect to be playing in the top 10 on TV chart shows. So I think it's one of those songs that you've got to hear a few times for its charms to unfurl itself. I think the playing is good. It's decent. But again, this album, it's going into that mellow yellow, that feel. So I definitely think we need a bit of energy. Oh, I've just seen what the next track is. Don't Cry for Me, Argentina, Julie Covington. I don't know if I can even critique this one. It was a number one smash out of the Andrew Lloyd Webber Uber hit Broadway show, Evita. What can you say?
Yeah. Well, firstly, I wanted to mention something about this album because I was talking about this a lot when we did the Ripper 76 show, Peter, and that is the edits. And a lot of these songs are edited, but this time it actually tells you on the back cover there which ones are the edited versions. It has like a little star next to them. And I've got to say that the edits on this album are much less brutal than the ones on Ripper 76. So that was a good improvement on this one. But with Don't Cry for Me, Argentina, they actually used the unedited version, which is really strange because the song is 5.5 minutes long. And when you look at the grooves, you can see how much bigger it is than all the other songs. But I might surprise you on this one, Peter, a little bit, but I've always liked this song. Even from when I was a little kid, I always quite liked this song. I'm not a Andrew Lloyd Webber fan at all, generally speaking. You talk about Cats or Phantom of the Opera or any of that stuff. No, go away. I can't stand it. But I've always loved this song. I mean, I first heard this song when I was probably, 6, 7 years old. And the melody of it is beautiful. And Julie Covington sings it lovely. I mean, it definitely is not what I would have picked for, like, to end a side of a compilation album, because I think it's way low energy. And you really want a bit of a higher energy song to open and close the sides. But as a song, I've always quite liked it. So, I mean, I'm guessing that you're not such a fan of it, but I've always quite liked it.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything for me emotionally, but that may say more about me. But I think my critique is, why is it on this album? This album's a pop album. Rock, pop. I just think it's just an unusual choice. It probably belongs on a Broadway show tune album. Like the previous Rippers didn't have hits from Hair or Godspell or Jesus Christ Superstar, did they?
No.
And they were hits. They charted. So I think, I'm seeing less Aussie rock bands, less Aussie pub rock bands on this album, and you're substituting it with show tunes. And I just think it's an interesting sort of bit of decision making here.
Yeah.
I don't know if I think it's unusual. All right, we flip the album over and we go to Daniel's Bicycle League's favourite group, Status Quo, Wild Side of Life. Start off with a bit of boogie. This hit the charts at number 7. Like, these guys could have put Goldilocks and the Three Bears out as a boogie song, and it would have hit the top 10 easy cheesy in Australia, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Look, I'll start with the positives first, and that is it's a good choice to open the side again. It's something a little more energetic, a little sort of wake you up after, Don't Cry for Me, Argentina. But beyond that, like, there are the odd Status Quo song that I like. I think we talked about it when we did Ripper 76, and I quite like the Status Quo song on that one. But this one's very by the numbers, dun 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 dun, and yeah, it doesn't do a lot for me.
Yeah, it's not classic Quo. It is by the numbers. So, whatever if you hadn't heard this song, but you are familiar with the other Status Quo songs in their discography, it's all that plus more. It's exactly how you would imagine it to be. So there's nothing, outrageous or outside the box, but it's meat and potatoes, and it does the trick. Next one, Marty Rhone, A Mean Pair of Jeans. Now, this hit number 12. I had it in my head this was a smash. I thought this might have been I recall this had a little bit of pop star heat in the day with shows like Countdown, and I had it in my head it was maybe a number 1 hit.
She wears a mean pair of jeans. Tell me what you mean. A mean pair of jeans. Oh, I see what you mean. And they're oh so tight. And they're oh so tight.
Not so. Anyway, what do you think of this song?
Yeah, maybe you were getting it confused with one of the 50 other songs that came out in the sort of period of time that were about girls wearing jeans. But because there were so many of them, weren't there? But again, it's very formulaic. It's very pop. Marty Rhone was, the sort of guy that he would appear on Countdown and sounds and things like that. But he was also the sort of guy that, when he was touring, he was probably playing the RSL clubs and things like that. So, it's not my kind of thing. There's a definite cheese factor to this song. I think you'll agree.
Yeah. I agree with this. I think I was getting confused with Denim and Lace. I think that was his big hit, and that probably charted higher. Look, this is probably just one level below the variety show, like the Don Lane show or whatever was the shows in those days. It's unremarkable, and to me, it's almost a pseudo novelty. No, not anyway. But all I can say is Marty Rhone sings with a lot of enthusiasm. His vocal delivery is he believes in the lyrics. No matter what he's singing in front of him, you can hear that he's having a ball and he sings it with conviction. Now, this one, Hush. Nothing stays the same forever. This is a really unusual song for Hush. It's
Yeah.
completely the opposite to what you would imagine Hush, Boney and Maroney would sound like. Would you agree, Daniel?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Hush are known again for the, sort of satin suits and the glam rock and the hard rock and that sort of thing, and the long hair and the big guitars and all that sort of thing. And then they come around here and they're dropping a ballad. And if I may say so, in my humble opinion, not a particularly convincing ballad at that. I think they're better off sticking to the hard rock and the glam and that sort of thing. I don't think this really does a lot for me. I don't know. You can tell me what it ended up doing on the charts and all that sort of thing. But not one I knew, and not one that I'm particularly keen to revisit anytime soon.
Well, oh, my friend, I'm very contraire with you. I like this a lot. I think this is out of the box. It's different. It shows a little bit of a different sort of musical style and palette, and I quite like it at all. I quite like it. It hit the charts at 39, so I think just for their teenage audience that was growing up, it was probably a little bit out of the box and a bit too unusual. But it's an unusual arrangement. It's a song that you wouldn't expect them to do because they were a little bit meat and potatoes teenage boogie. I like it. I like it a lot. So I would ask you maybe listen to it a few more times and tell me. I did convince you on Ray Burgess. I think this is a grower.
Yeah.
So
No, fair enough.
yeah,
I'll give it another go.
yeah, absolutely. Steve Miller Band, Rockin' Me, baby.
Yeah.
Number 10.
Got to do my part, 'cause I know in my heart I got to please my sweet and baby, yeah. Well, I ain't superstitious and I don't get suspicious, but my woman is a friend of mine. And I know that it's true that all the things that I do will come back to me in my sweet and time. So keep on rocking me, baby.
This is a staple of classic rock to its day, isn't it, Daniel?
Oh, absolutely. And I'm a big Steve Miller Band fan, and I love this song. It's you know, it's there's nothing remarkable to this song. It's just a basic rock and roll song, really. But he does it well, and he plays some nice guitar on it. And I've always thought he had a winning voice, even though he's not the most technically gifted singer in the world. Um, it's catchy, it's fun. The version on here fades out before the last verse, so we don't have to worry about the swear word. Um, so yeah, no, it's a good song. I've always liked it. It's not maybe one of my absolute favorite Steve Miller Band songs, but it's one whenever it comes on the radio, it puts a smile on my face. So yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I think this is one of the best songs on the album. It's a winning track, so it's definitely straightening the ship. Okay, the next song is Graham Parker and Rumour, Hold Back the Night. I know you're a big Graham Parker fan. What do you think of this song?
Yeah. Yeah, this is fun. This is a cover version. It's not a Graham Parker original. It's an old R&B song, and he does it very faithfully with the horns and the whole thing. He's got, again, he's not a gifted singer technically, but he's got perfect sort of pipes for that sort of R&B or that pub rock kind of sound, the UK pub rock, which is a very different beast from Australian pub rock, I should hasten to add. But it's got that UK pub rock sound. The Rumour are a great tight backing band for him. This was actually on an EP called The Pink Parker. And I've actually got a copy of it. I should have dug it out because it's on lovely pink vinyl as well. So, but yeah, no, this is, again, maybe not top tier Graham Parker and the Rumour, but it's a lot of fun. And I think he does a very convincing version of this song.
Yeah, I like this a lot. It bounces a lot. It's effervescent. Graham Parker's got I call him a personality singer. And what I mean by personality singer means it doesn't necessarily have the best voice, but you get a sense of his personality. And it comes out in spades. I think this is a mighty fine song. And to be quite frank, he should have been a lot bigger, especially in this country, than he actually was. So what was his biggest territory, UK or US? UK, I
Yeah,
think.
no, probably UK. I mean, he was always more of a cult artist in the US, but he never did the big numbers that Elvis Costello or Joe Jackson did. So
Yeah, the angry man, or men of one of the angry men of rock in the late 70s, part of the new wave movement. So,
yeah,
yeah, interesting. All right, we go to Trevor White. All You Want to Do Is Dance, and this hit the charts in 1976, and so it's a bit of a holdover and hit number 30. What do you think of this song?
yeah. I think we're back into Marty Rhone territory a little bit here, aren't we? Sort of show tunes and Mike Walsh show and all that sort of thing. Doesn't do a lot for me. I think he only ever did the one album too, um, so a bit of a one-hit wonder, even though it wasn't a big hit. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot more I can say. It again. We've got some pretty heavy cheese factor on this song, but you got that in the '70s with all these compilation albums. They would always have these sort of cheesy songs, and sometimes that's half the fun of these compilation albums. But yeah, this one's not memorable for me.
Yeah, Trevor White was pretty well known in the 70s because he was the original Judas in the Australian production of Jesus Christ Superstar. So he had a good set of pipes, but I don't think any of his recorded output matched the material, matched the natural talent that he had of his vocals, in my humble opinion. This is an okay song. To me, it's sort of like the record company's pushing something onto him that he's probably not quite comfortable. And yes, it is a bit variety show. Maybe I'll say a pot of gold. Next one, Peter Gabriel, Solsbury Hill. The winner. Sorry,
Yeah.
bit premature.
No. Best song on the album, and it's not even particularly close for me.
Climbing up on Salisbury Hill, I could see the city light. Wind was blowing, time stood still. Eagle flew out of the night. He was something to observe.
This was his debut solo single too. After he'd left Genesis, he hadn't done anything for like a year and a half or something, and then he puts this song out, and it's a classic. It's just such a good song. I mean, I'm a huge Peter Gabriel fan, and first song in his solo career, and he knocks it out of the park. I mean, I think most of our viewers will be well familiar with this song. It's a song that still gets played on the radio. It's unusual in that it's a song that was a big hit single, but it was in 7/4 time. So it's in an unusual time signature as well. But and it's sort of cryptically, the lyrics are cryptically about him leaving Genesis. So yeah, it's an absolute winner. He sings the hell out of it. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, one word to describe this song, rousing. And my one and only time I saw Peter Gabriel, which was in Radio Music Hall in New York, which was Peter Gabriel with orchestra. This was the final song he did. And it was just the hair on the back of my head was sticking up. Brilliant. So I'll just finish my critique and just say this song is rousing. Supernaut, young and innocent. I get the feel about Supernaut, they were like one of those bands that were just packaged for 1 year and it was kind of all over.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we had on Ripper 76, didn't we? We had I Like It Both Ways, and that was one of our favourite songs on that album for both of us. This one doesn't, I don't think, quite hold up to I Like It Both Ways, but I still like it quite a bit. It's a bit more mellow, it's a bit more laid back, but I still like Supernaut. I still need to find that Supernaut album and buy a copy of it. it's still got a bit of that glammy feel to it, but it is more laid back and more gentle. But the vocals, I don't know who the vocalist of Supernaut is, but I really like his singing. I like this song. It's not one of my absolute favorites on the album, but it definitely gets a pass mark from me.
And yeah, the vocalist is Gary Twin, and I think he's got a perfect voice for glam rock, and that really shines on this particular song. Probably not as catchy as I Like It Both Ways, and definitely not as controversial as you so eloquently said in our last show. But I think it's a mighty fine song, so I have no issue with that. They did a follow-up album in 1979 called The Noughts on Wizard Records, but I think by 1979 the musical climate had changed and people had moved on. So there you have it. All right, we're getting towards the end of the album. Gladys Knight and the Pips, So Sad the Song. This hit the charts in December 76, peaked at number 12.
Oh, I like Gladys Knight and the Pips quite a lot. I mean, Gladys Knight's got one of the great voices of sort of soul and R&B. And again, this is a little more laid back and that sort of thing, but it's got that wonderful groove that the Pips would have. And yeah, I mean, she sings the hell out of it. It's a really good song. Of all the more gentle songs on this album, it's probably one of the very, very best, I think.
Class act. Just a class act. She's got a fantastic voice. It's a divine arrangement, and I've got nothing much more to say. I think anything that's got Gladys Knight involved is just a class act. So there you go. And then we finish up with the Silver Studs. How a band could have so many top 10 hits, I think they had 2, and leave such little impact in pop culture. Funky Feet. Actually, This band's called The Studs. I'll correct myself. So I think they went from a trio to a duo, and this hit number 10. Over to you.
Yeah. I might surprise you with this, Peter, but I actually don't mind this song. It's the only song, which I think this is really surprising, Peter. It's the only song on this album that is pure disco, which, in 1977, you would have expected this album to be half disco because disco was so huge at the time. But it's really the only disco song on the album. It's a far cry from when they were the Silver Studs and they were doing that rather naff version of the Happy Days theme song that they did on Ripper 76. I like this a lot better. And again, at least it's an energetic way to end the album. It's a silly song. It's, complete fluff in that respect. But a lot of disco wasn't it? The thing about it is it's catchy. It's fun. I like it.
Yeah, I would just say it's just okay. And I'm still sort of haunted by me researching the Silver Studs. So, I think that's left a bit of a scar on me that only maybe listening to Choco Block or Bacon and Eggs the following couple of years I recovered from. So there you have it, folks. We got through the trilogy Ripper 77. This has been an enjoyable trilogy. There you go, The Bum Cheek, and I don't know how they put that one together, but they did. Final words on Ripper 77. I think it's probably the least of the trilogy. I think in regards to songs I like and songs I don't.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. It's got some highlights, but as a whole album, I don't think it coheres nearly as well as the first 2 Ripper albums. And, so that's probably why it was the last. After this, they would do Scorcher, which instead of a bum cheek was like all the names written on a belly of someone wearing a bikini. But, and that was a one-off too, I think. So I think maybe it was diminishing returns.
And then
then they gave up on the sort of kind of sexist album covers for a bit, and went with, Chock-a-Block and Whopper and, Bacon and Eggs and, all that. They just came up with more bizarre things to, call their albums.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this has been fun. Tell us what you think of our critiques, the songs on this album, good, bad, and indifferent. We love reading your comments, and give us some tips. Do you want to hear us review Chock-a-Block? Do you want to hear us review Bacon and Eggs? Maybe not. We love reading it. Please like and subscribe to Rock Daydream Nation. Please check out Bicycle Leg's wonderful YouTube channel. I'll put the link below. And stick around. We've got a show just around the corner on Rock Daydream Nation. All the best and cheers.
Bye.